It's very recognizable, especially if it hasn't been treated or cut. There's no plant quite like it, which is 3 meters tall, has these triangular shaped leaves and the huge stems. And if I put my finger here by the stem, you can see the sort of dimensions that we're talking about. Some people think of it as bamboo, but in fact it's very different from bamboo. Bamboo is grass, and this obviously is not grass, it has flowers. The biggest problem about knotweed is that it grows through asphalt, concrete, and affects infrastructure like drainage pipes and that kind of thing. So the biggest problem for homeowner is expense and the damage that it does and repairing that damage. It is recognized as being that way, and so that's why it's on the noxious weed list in British Columbia, which actually, and any plant on that list, obligates the homeowner, if they have the plant, to get rid of it on their property. I would suggest that you don't treat it yourself, because you run the risk, if you say you go to a garden centre and you buy the Roundup off the shelf there, it's likely to be in a very dilute concentration. And the last thing you want to do with this plant, other than cutting it, is to repeatedly give it low doses of herbicide. If you do that, you're much more likely to create a situation where the plant develops tolerance to that herbicide and makes it much more different to treat. The last thing you want to do is cut it. If you cut it, it is more likely to cause it to spread. You can't dig it up. If you look at these plants here, they're about 3 meters high. There will be at least that much root down below. So unless you're prepared to dig 3 meters down and remove all the material within 7 meters of the root, because that's how far it spreads underground, and then treat it as hazardous waste by taking it to the incinerator and the expense that that would generate, then no, it's not an option. It's much, much cheaper and more environmentally friendly to use a herbicide. By using a herbicide, the plant stays in place, the root stays in place, the soil is not disturbed, and when the plant dies, you can just cut it down and let it rot in the soil. It's not toxic. And it's much cheaper than people think. I mean, if you look at this little stand here, you would be paying, I'm guessing here, about $150, which would include the permitting, the stem injection, and a repeat visit to treat any survivors. So it looks really intimidating, but it's not nearly as expensive as people think.